Hi everybody, I'm Heather McLean, editor at SVG Europe. I hope you're all well and safe. I'm here today joined by Anna Lockwood, Head of Global Sales at Telstra Broadcast Services, Will Pitt, Head of Sport at Imagen, and Kevin Cottam, Director of Sports and Live Events at Ross Video. Okay, so first question is for Kevin. Ross Video was the first company to cancel its stand at NAB due to the coronavirus. How has that company leadership role evolved? And can you give us an overview of where the company is now regarding your staff, customer services, and manufacturing?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Heather. First thing I just want to mention is, I hope everyone is staying safe out there, and physical distancing. Keep it up. It's nice to see that things are starting to come around. It looks like we're seeing a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. So I just hope everyone keeps safe and we get back to normal as soon as possible. I know we're all hoping we can get there very soon. The sooner the better. Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as that, it wasn't an easy decision to be one of the first larger companies to pull out of NAB, but obviously it was the right decision. A week later or so, NAB was canceled. So. But yeah, I think obviously it was the right decision. As far as staff goes, we've had a work from home order since I believe it was early March. So, the offices are basically empty. There's maybe a couple people in the offices doing a couple things, but for the most part, everyone's at home. And that includes, all the sales staff, inside sales, tech support, the works. It's gone quite well, that transition. We also have a lot of remote staff that do traditionally work from home throughout the globe. So that transition went quite well. Things are still moving. It is a little, I think, and I feel it as much as anyone. I'm typically used to being on the road and going to many events such as SVG events and such. So things have transitioned to obviously working from home, a lot of remote sessions like the one here today. But things are going quite well. It is a bit of a new reality. I think we're all going to learn a little bit more. We've always had the ability to do remote meetings and things like that, but these days it's really, it's really happening a lot more, and we're utilizing that technology a lot more. And I think in the future, it's definitely going to change how business is done, and there will be a little, less travel, for instance. But we'll see where that goes. But things are going well with staff. Things seem fairly positive. As far as manufacturing goes, we continued manufacturing, through the beginning of the pandemic. We did close so we have a manufacturing plant. So our headquarters are based in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Mm-hmm. But our manufacturing plant is about an hour south of there in Iroquois, Ontario. We did close the manufacturing plant for about 2 weeks. That wasn't an easy decision either, but we thought it was, just in the, best interest of the employees and everything else, just not knowing what was happening at that time. So, but we shut down for about 2 weeks, and we were back up and running in early April. So, and we're basically back up to full capacity right now. Or equipment's being manufactured and shipped. So we're fully up and running. We did have some supply chain issues here and there. But our manufacturing team, they've done a really great job. They kind of got ahead of it and ordered a bunch of the components and such for the different products ahead of time. So they were able to stockpile that. So we're not really running into any supply chain issues now. So things are up and running. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the world of sport has been affected by this pandemic. I think worse than any. Just no large gatherings. The productions, broadcasts, leagues, everything just being put on hold for now. So, so things are a little bit slower than usual, but again, we're working with many leagues across the globe and just trying to assist in any way that we can.
Right.
Yeah. As far one more thing, I would mention is I mentioned tech support is also working from home, and they've transitioned very well from working in an office environment to working from home and being able to support all our clients. We've got a lot of calls coming in, remote productions and things like that. And we're assisting as much as we can. And that transition has gone very well. We've got nothing but positive feedback from clients regarding just the support that we have for everyone. So all in all, I'm trying to, I think I and others on the Ross side are just trying to look at, as Lorenzo mentioned once or twice, is cup half full. Let's try to keep things positive and just keep working, supporting everyone, and we'll get through this together. And like I mentioned off the top, the sooner the better, right? We're all looking forward to getting back to what the new normal will be anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Next question is for Anna. So with Telstra Broadcast Services focusing on the sports broadcast business, how much of your work currently is within that sector, and how have you been enhancing your network throughout this process so far, specifically for those customers?
Thanks, Heather, and hello and welcome to everyone on the call. Great to have you all be virtually having this important discussion. Yes, we do have a diversified business in Telstra Broadcast Services. We do service media customers, entertainment customers, broadcasters, but the sports business has been the most rapidly growing sector for us, especially internationally. And after the impact of the coronavirus, we've seen two different impacts. The live sports business has definitely been impacted, and many of our live events that were scheduled for the spring and the summer that we were supporting has been impacted. Some of them are still going on in Asia and in Australia, so we are actually still delivering live sports both into Asia and out of the Asia Pacific region. But most of our top tier events that we would have been working on have been canceled, and they include the WTA media that we do, the America's Cup that was coming up, the Olympics, of course, which would have been a very busy time for us. So there certainly has been a negative impact. But at this time, connectivity more than ever is critical. So we are seeing a very positive spike on our network, both from our traditional sports customers who either are using the network to distribute not live sports, but other formats of sports. And then, of course, from the video games and streaming and esports side of the business. So very large requirements on the network from that new part of the business, which we have been doing now for many years, but we have seen a big acceleration over the last few weeks. The other negative impact that we see, of course, is on the freelance community and the small businesses that we work with as part of our supply chain and our customers' supply chain. So that is something that we're painfully aware of, and we'll be looking forward to support as soon as live sports starts again. But on the connectivity side, Telstra has actually brought forward about 500 million Aussie dollars to the financial year 2020 to invest in the network and also to invest in expansion of our 5G capability. So that's been an immediate impact of COVID on our network investments. And on the global media network side, which is our bespoke network for our media and sports customers, we also have invested in expanding the bandwidth of that network based on the very unusual demand over the last 6 weeks.
Right.
We expect that to continue.
Yeah, and those investments were planned for later, but you have specifically brought those forward for now because of what's happening.
Yeah, they have been moved forward. Yeah. We also had two announcements for NAB, which we have now made, as part of the virtual NAB experience. And both of them, I think, are very relevant during this time. One was a cloud gateway solution, moving from our networks into the cloud. And certainly that has been one of our biggest demands from our customers, supporting their acceleration towards virtualization, towards collaboration in the cloud, towards remote production requirements. So that cloud gateway, I think, is going to become much more important. And then the second announcement on the network side was around media data. We've always had the ability to provide data along with video and audio, but they were on different services. Now we've combined those, so we've got video, audio, and data services on the same service. And that, again, has been something that our sports customers have been asking for a lot. So in summary, I think there's been some negative impacts, but the positive impacts on the network from the gaming and the video esports sector has been very marked, and it's been a very positive spike.
Great, thank you. And my next question is for Will. As Imagen specialises in content management for rights holders, particularly within the sports market, how has Imagen seen its work with sports broadcasters around Europe in the absence of live sports change over the last few weeks?
Well, firstly, hello. Good to see you, Heather. You were in the same location the last time we spoke, as was I. We are stuck inside in the same rooms, apparently. Listen, first thing, just to echo what Kevin and Anna have said, I hope everyone's okay out there. I want to pass on my congratulations to IABM and SVG for gathering such a good bunch of people. There's a good audience out there, and it's fantastic to hear people's voices talking about the reaction to what's been going on. I really hope everyone is staying strong and keeping well and is okay. This is an industry I've worked in for many years and have a lot of love for. So my best wishes to everyone out in Zoom land. Let me answer the question. Listen, we've seen two key things going on since lockdown, really, two key trends. Trend number one is a very obvious point, and that is that those that have media asset management capability in place, particularly those who have media asset management capability in place that is cloud-based, have been using it more. Okay, so there has been a significant uptick in our customer base in the use of media asset management. Yes, to be able to find stuff in order to fill the gaps that the live schedule has created, or the lack of live events have created. But then also to utilize those cloud tools, those asset management tools, in order to manipulate that content and make the very best of it. Thing number two, trend number two that we've really noticed is that the market is using the downtime to investigate what is possible, okay, from a media asset management perspective. So they're using their time to have a look out in the market, go and see what problems they can solve. And interestingly, most of them, in our experience, are not trying to change their entire operations overnight, with a catch-all solution. Most of them are looking to address the one or two key problems that they were facing when the world was, shall we say, normal, back in those heady days where we could all get together. They are looking to solve those two or three big headaches that they had through the use of remote or cloud-based asset management solutions. Those are the two key things we're seeing.
Great, thanks. My next question's back to Kevin again. You've kicked off Ross Live 2020. So alongside that, how is Ross working with content creators, planning for what is undoubtedly going to be a new era in sport and live events over coming months?
First thing I guess is just the Ross Live 2020 and the Tech Talks. I think we all missed NAB. That is traditionally such a big part of the broadcast world, and being able to announce a lot of different products and things like that. So Ross Talk Live is sort of something that it's a comprehensive 10-week production or program of product launches. So we've kind of spread it out, and we still want to communicate with on the side of new products and everything else with all our clients and things. So we do have that that program that we're going to be launching, as you mentioned, over the next 10 weeks. it's going to be great. There's a lot of new great products that we're looking to release and announce. Sorry, and then on the side of content creation and such, there's a lot of we've been communicating with a lot of different sports teams and leagues, just on what the new what's going to happen over the next few months. Are leagues going to start up again? Or are they going to have fans in the in the seats? It doesn't sound like there will be fans in a lot of that, but they do in a lot of the venues and productions. So they're looking for creative ways to to do some virtual advertising, or add to that overall production. So some products like we do have our ARVS solutions, right? So we have the ability to help them overcome those challenges and still put on a great presentation and try to help make the production or the seats not look empty. We've got and sports analytics tools in Piero to be able to enhance that production and just bring a little bit more, because it is going to be a little different coming back. So but we do see a lot of leagues that are planning either to have centralized events and games and to finish off, say, the NBA season or something like that. And we're also looking to other events just to see how we can assist with the new era of production, because it is going to be a little different. I know things will change most likely forever in some ways, but I think they're going to get back, eventually back to somewhat normal. So, we're just really working to try to help. How can we help at this time and make things a little bit better, right? We want people to get back to work. We want the leagues to get back up and running, and I think with a lot of the technology we have, we can support them. We also have our creative services team that's hard at work, still building graphics and assisting for all these different productions. Esports has been mentioned quite a bit. We've been a big player in esports for many years, and that's something that has also had quite an uptick in the past few weeks, just as far as the productions and streams that are happening. So we're working very diligently with that. But yeah, it's turbulent times. But I know, as I mentioned earlier, I think we're starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And I think people are starting to plan over the next few months to see what we can do to get back on track and start producing sports again. And Ross is there to help with our breadth of product and services, right? So we are here to support everyone, and yeah, looking forward to getting back at it.
Yeah, as are we all. Thanks, Kev.
Yeah.
So next question is for Anna. What changes for good? It sounds strange to say that at this point, but what changes for good have you seen in sports production during the crisis? And how are you planning for the new normal, both in terms of traditional linear TV and, as Kevin referred to, all the esports stuff that's really picked up lately?
Yeah, so I'll start with addressing that from our own perspective. So Telstra has been a champion of virtual and remote working for a long time. So for most of our sales teams and support teams, working remotely was not unduly challenging. I am working today from my home in London, and we really have a global business that can be run from anywhere in the world. Our broadcast operations centers and our MCRs, though, are manned still. We do have people going to them under very controlled conditions. A lot of our suppliers have been fantastic to work with in terms of accelerating our own business continuity plans, our own business resilience plans, and making sure that we have the support and the 24/7 access that we need from them remotely. So we're in a hybrid model at the moment where we do have most of our workforce working from home, but there are a few essential NOCs, network operation centers, security operation centers, and broadcast operation centers where we do still have manned personnel. And of course, that was a test. We knew that we had these BCP plans, but then to be able to evoke them and actually use them in anger was a learning curve. And luckily, never missed a moment on air, and are still now in a more business as usual mode, having done this now for 6 weeks. In terms of our customers, what we're seeing is a real acceleration of what they were probably already looking at or exploring. But now, again, there's this huge momentum behind either making a change or understanding what the change might look like if they were to make it in the future. And some of that is around, remote working and collaboration from different offices around the world. Some of that is virtualized or remote production, which I think is going to become far more common now in sports as well as the wider industry. We've seen an uptick in requests for hosting services, for cloud services, as I mentioned earlier, and also for our D2C customers, our direct-to-consumer customers, including many large sports companies that do now have direct-to-consumer services. They suddenly have a lot more interest in the internet world, so IP transit, IP peering, using networks to get directly to customers, either in our home market of Australia, or to work with other internet providers, other ISPs around the world, with Telstra providing the transit there. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm seeing an accelerated adoption of trends that were already in play. And of course, on the games, streaming, and esports side, there is a big acceleration there on the OTT and online side, which I think won't go away. I think will definitely continue. So I think for us, we are looking forward to seeing live sports return. We very much think that live sports will come back and will come back stronger. We've started our bounce back planning already, getting ready for when we are able to bounce back. And I think we'll be busier than ever on the live sports side. We will come out stronger. But in the meantime, we're really trying to support our customers and our partners with their digital transition and with their transition to very new ways of working. Mm-hmm. So I think we will come out more positively, even though it is a very difficult time. And a lot of these industry trends will be accelerated as we go through this period.
Sure. Okay, thank you. And my final question is for Will. So we've seen a radical shift over the last few weeks towards archive-led programming from sports broadcasters. How does Imagen see the big picture of complementary TV and traditional linear but live TV once we come out the other side of this?
Yeah, well, coming out the other side of this means what? And I'm not sure any of us know the answer to that. But I'm broadly optimistic about what is going to happen, and that's quite a bold thing to say, particularly given the industry has been decimated by this, and decimated instantly as well. I think we were stopped in our tracks quite literally, it was really interesting to see Lorenzo's statistics earlier. But here's why I'm optimistic: the sports tech industry, which we're very lucky to be a part of, has thrived because it is innovative, because it has driven innovation and come up with ways to adapt to the way that they see the market moving, and ways to adapt to market demand, and indeed sometimes creating demand just through brilliant stuff, through brilliant kit, through brilliant software. And for that reason, I'm optimistic, because I think we are in the best place to be able to react with the talent that we have to whatever comes as a result of this. So I'm buoyed up, I'm excited about what's going to come. I think, what will that look like? Well, frankly, mine's just one opinion of many. I'm pretty certain that we are not going to return to where we were before. And we may not do so ever. I don't think we will do for a couple of years. And I don't want to, create any scaremongering here. But this is why I think if the virus is combatable, if we can fight it as it stands, then that's great, and we can get back to a semblance of normality. But then, of course, it will mutate, and because that's what happens with viruses. So We have a new normal ahead of us that we are going to have to adapt to. And that will pose challenges for anyone involved in the putting on of live events. So what I think is going to happen is that we are going to take the very best of what was and combine it with all of the things that we have been doing as a result of this crisis. And that will form what we see as the new juxtaposition, as you put it, between live sports as they are going to look in the future and the consumption of sports through the use of better media management tools. Artificial intelligence and machine learning, you hear it all the time. You're probably going to hear about it more now because those tools are going to be more in demand. How can we address, if we're not able to attend live events in the way that we were, then how can we enhance the consumption of those events remotely in an even better and more interesting way? So those tools are really going to come to the fore. So broadly optimistic and excited to see what happens, but I don't think it's going to be quite what it was. I think everyone would probably agree with that.
Great. Okay. Lovely. That's the end of my questions. So I just have a couple of questions from the audience that I will ask you. If you could just answer, one of you can answer each one very briefly, because we are pushed for time here. So the first one is, will international federations be able to maintain a busy schedule of global events before a vaccine is widely distributed? What are your thoughts? Who's going to answer that one?
Well, I guess I can chime in. I guess I can't really answer that. Hopefully they can, but it's really the safety of the public, right? We need to make sure that people are safe, and to be able to have people traveling and everything else. It's going to be difficult. It really is a difficult. It's not a question I can answer. I guess I'd love to see it happen as long as people stay safe, but I'm not sure when. How far that will get until there is a vaccine.
Cool. Okay. And one more very quick question. How will, this is a bit more broad, but it kind of fits into the same area, I'm probably thinking of IBC, but how exhibitions manage social distancing regulations? I guess those are going to be quite similar to how sports are going to have to work things out as well. Anna or Will, would you like to answer that?
Anna, I'll let you jump in, but it's going to be the same for live sports events. We are going to have to get used to a new normal, and I can sort of answer a bit of the last question as well. A vaccine is not going to solve our problems, because the virus will mutate, and we will then, just like the virus does. So we're going to have to get used to some new behaviours, and social distancing will become the new norm.
Great.
And I think for all of us, the safety of our employees, our partners, our customers is number one. So that will always dictate and drive our responses to what we'll do in the future. So it is going to be challenging to go either to large sporting events or large exhibitions without a very clear safety plan for our teams.
Great. Okay, thank you very much to all my panelists, Anna, Will and Kevin.